Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject som känner konstnärer kan så felina. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Yo, excuse me. Ooh. Happy Monday. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always to Wanna Bet. We try to give you our favorite plays. Well, 7 days a week. That's what we do. We got a format here. It's pretty easy to follow. Rundowns on the side. I'm Jason. That's Ben. Ben's been the one cashing like crazy. I've been the one scuffling the last few months. Great spring, great summer. When the weather turned, struggle got real. But we persist. Oh, wait, Ben. We persist. We work harder. We dig deeper. We self-scout, and we try to get better and provide better results. But anyway, we work hard, so you guys maybe don't have to work as hard. We're hopefully fostering discussions, whether it's within your own head or with other people who you gamble with as well, about how you go about this and what strategies you use. And hopefully there's some things you take from us that help you profit. That's what we're in it for. So first, second, third down are three favorite plays of the day. Fourth down, I have fourth and long and fourth and short plays. Longer term plays where we've got to wait a week or so to cash. And also fourth and short, ways to get you paid before games end. First half, first quarter, first period, first 30 minutes of a soccer match, et cetera, et cetera. Overtime, we've got NFL, college football, or soccer parlays and/or soccer parlays every single day while we're in season, football season. More closer to being over than not. And we show our work here. We're fully transparent. We keep score. Look, I had a good Sunday. I'm chipping away. It would have been a great Sunday if the Bucks had not allowed Tyler Shuck, of all people, to have two explosive rushing touchdowns. Otherwise, that game goes under, and it goes under the alt number that I had it at. I thought it was going to be 2017 Tampa. And, again, Shuck has a 32-yard rushing touchdown. Shuck has a 12-yard rushing touchdown. So that kept us from really, having a 7-8 unit to the positive day. But the game we were on the most, Beltway Ben, we cashed for you guys almost across the board. Rams Cardinals elevated total. Cashed, I told you guys as well. I played at 52.5 and above. I hope you did. The Stafford same game parlay cashed easy. The Brissett same game parlay cashed easy. Our guy Davante Adams had a couple of shots on goal to go in the first drive of the game, Ben, where we could have got that first half touchdown. That would have been huge. Myles Garrett got one sack, flirted with a second. He didn't seem all that interested in the second half of that game. Really, the entire Browns defense didn't. Our Gainwell stuff, both Gainwell bets hit. Our Achane hit easy, even though he got hurt. Glad we didn't play him at 100 rushing yards, although fair play would have come into play there. So it was a good day overall. We were way on the under last night. I should have played that at an alt total under as well. Like, I played that one and the Tampa both at 38.5, Ben. I gave the Tampa out here. I didn't give, what are you going to do? But, yeah, my last two Sundays in the NFL have been really solid. And Beltway, Ben, you just keep kicking ass, brother.
Yeah, it was I'm kicking myself for doing what we've talked about on this show and Tyler Warren, because I played him so many different ways and I brought him up, and I didn't take into account Daniel Jones re-injuring himself and coming out of that game early. And Riley Leonard, you would think the young quarterback goes to the tight end a lot, and they tried early, but Jacksonville took him away, and that was really all that was. So if we didn't have Tyler Warren involved, or Tyler Warren had a big day, we would have been probably up around 60 units at this point, but we lost, and that evened out a bunch. We ended up losing like a unit. We were good everywhere outside of that. I mean, we lost to Derrick Henry, 100+ on anytime touchdown. That came close. He had 95. And ultimately, Lamar got the rushing touchdown, but we cashed Aaron Jones and the Commanders versus Vikings rushing yards over. We cashed Aaron Jones' longest rush. We did tell you to take Caleb Williams to throw an interception. We took the team total. Those balanced themselves out and actually finished up like a quarter of a unit because it was plus 136. So that was good to offset those. Dalton Kincaid, in the first half, I was a little worried, wasn't doing much, and he got going in the second half. as all tight ends do. And to that point, Knox was the guy that was going off. So you can honestly take 2 tight ends against the Bengals in any game and have some success with it. But again, wasn't a terrible day. Just really wish Tyler Warren could have got it going at least a little bit, to at least when we brought him down in that tight end parlay, it would have been nice to catch that.
You could also take both running backs over alt receiving totals against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the
Yeah.
Bengals don't really have a second back. Oh, no, they do. P-Ryan, that's
P-Ryan's
right.
back.
I'll be on both of them. I will be on both of them Sunday. And yes, we're already on the Bengals for next week. Couple other things, Ben, if you bring us back up for a minute. Look, plus 240 on the Colts to miss the playoffs. Try finding that now. I mean, we don't give out futures all the time. When we give out futures in week, it's because we know that value, if things go the way we think it's going to go, is going to be completely gone. And look, the Joe Burrow freaky pick six, Bengals plus 850 to make the playoffs. I still stand by it because the Ravens are shite and the Steelers are shite. And the Bengals had the Bills on the ropes several times in that game. And Burrow threw for 4 and he could have thrown for 6. So, that's not going to cash at this point, but I don't regret. There's a lot of bets I've made and a lot of bets I've given out on this show that I regret. I don't regret that one. It took a couple acts of God for the Bills to survive that one. And look, we'll just have to see about the AFC North. Like, do I think Miami could beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh on Monday night? Next Monday night, Beltway, Ben? I do. And do I think the Bengals will beat the Ravens? I do. So, anyway, we'll see. Anything else you have to add before we get into our bets?
Real quick, anybody who follows us for our social media stuff, this weekend was hectic. Had a lot going on. Apologize that I wasn't able to get much out. We will have a lot of social media videos out throughout the week, so stay tuned on YouTube, on all of our social medias. We'll have a lot of stuff being posted throughout the week.
Excellent. All right, let's do this. Not a lot on the college basketball slate, but I've been fading South Carolina State, and we're going to fade them again tonight. Give me Charleston Southern laying the 7.5, hosting South Carolina State. South Carolina State's 3-6 against the spread. They're losing on average by 23 points a game. They're failing to cover on average by 5 points per game. They are a horribly flawed basketball team, Beltway Ben. They are 351st in the country in KenPom offense, 341st in KenPom defense, and 354th in rebounding. They recently lost by 21 to Bethune-Cookman. Charleston Southern's really flawed, but they hit the boards really hard. Maybe not the most talented team in the league, but they're top 100 in the country defending the 3-ball. They're top 50 in the country defending the 2-ball. The one thing they really don't do is produce any turnovers, but my God, South Carolina, who plays at a breakneck pace, even though they don't have solid guard play, they're going to hand you the ball whether you want to take it or not. This thing opened at around 9.5. It was as high as 10.5 in some spots. It's now come down. Maybe I'm the idiot Mook, who should know better. But this is an SC State team that's road weary. They played one home game all year. This is their 5th straight road game, and they're still not light at the end of the tunnel. They got another road trip to go before they play at home again. I just think it's a really tough spot for them. And I think Charleston Southern, frankly, is 10 to 12 points better than them. That's how I cap it. So I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Charleston Southern.
I'm going to start in the NFL game. We do have a lot of basketball and other things to get to, but I will start here, and we're going to go with a prop like that over the past few weeks we've been going after, especially when we have players dealing with injuries. We're going with the Los Angeles Chargers over 112.5 team rushing yards at minus 120. Omarion Hampton's back, and Vidal has been so damn good that I just don't know what to expect from either one. I probably lean that Vidal will be heavily relied on, and they'll kind of work Hampton in over the next few weeks and try to get him ready for the playoffs, but they don't want to rush him back that soon and give him too many carries. With that being said, I think both of them could have big days. 2 weeks that we had no Jalen Carter. How did the Eagles defense do? 51.6% success rate week 6. That was bottom 8, and that was against the Giants where we saw Scadabo run all over them, celebrate, and really lead the Giants to a big win there. We know Dart had some success with his legs there as well. Now, week 1, 42.9% success rate, which was bottom 3. Week 1's a little bit more tough because it's hard for the Fangio and that defense to prepare for a guy getting tossed before the offensive snap is even taken, and you don't really have a week to prepare for that. Here they did because they knew Jalen Carter ultimately was going to go to the IR and they'd be without him for at least 4 weeks. I don't think they're going to be prepared anyways because the defensive line without Jalen Carter just has struggled. We've seen it twice. 2 reasons to take it. I just think the Chargers' run offense is good. Herbert's hurt, and I don't know that they want to be chucking the football across the field 50 times tonight, but Herbert, even being banged up, we've seen him run the football. We've seen some success there. Greg Roman will get some out of his quarterback rushing the football. So I do like the Chargers as a team to run for over 112.5 rushing yards at minus 120.
Excellent. Second down for me. I mentioned we love the Bengals against the Ravens in that Thursday night spot a few weeks ago. Probably our best played game of the entire NFL season. We're going back and getting on the Bengals money line now. I played it over the weekend at plus 130. That's not there anymore. And it's going to probably keep getting lower. And we're going to parlay that with the Bills on the money line plus 319. Look, the Bengals are a bad matchup for the Ravens and have been for years. The Baltimore Ravens against quarterbacks this season who have won a playoff game are 0-6. 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 68% completions, almost 8 yards per attempt, and a QB rating of 110. Beltway Ben, those quarterbacks combined who are 6-0 against the Ravens, they've dropped back 269 times and been sacked 7. That's a pathetic sack rate. The Ravens have no pass rushers, and they especially have no pass rushers on the road. The Bengals just carved them up 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time the quarterback had played in 2 months. Burrow threw for 4 against Buffalo. I bet he throws for 5 against the Ravens. Ravens look like a team that's maybe soft quitting, and the offense sucks. You can go back to week 7. They averaged 8 offensive points in the first half over the second half of this season. It's a long sample size now. 28th in first half red zone. Bottom 5 in first half third down efficiency. They are a horrible rushing team in the first half of games. Derrick Henry, when they need him early to set a tone, 3.1 per carry yesterday. Not very good. Oh, yeah, and Keaton Mitchell, the home run hitter in the backfield, he's hurt now too, like Justice Hill. They're in trouble. And look, I don't think the Bills are getting swept by New England. Like, New England hasn't really played anybody. New England's riding high. I like New England. They're ahead of schedule. I've cashed a lot of money on Vrabel over the years, but I think they're running into a little bit of a buzzsaw here. Josh Allen will take this game over if he has to. I just think that, again, I'm jumping this now because I think a lot of people through the course of the week will start to see this game the way I do, which is it's hard to win 8 straight games in this league. The Pats are overdue for a loss. And when Buffalo has approached the game this year like a Super Bowl, like when they actually, when Bosa decides he's going to play and they have a pass rush, it's a whole different thing. And we saw it against the Chiefs about a month ago. And I think we're going to see it here. So give me the Bills to win and the Bengals to win plus 319.
We're going to jump to the NBA. I'm going to go with Pascal Siakam over 7.5 rebounds at minus 110. This guy just went over it, grabbed 10 boards for the first time in a while last game, but I think he's going to continue to build off that. He's matching up with a Kings team that's allowing 51 rebounds per game over their last 6. That is the most in the NBA by a wide margin. They've struggled on the glass, especially when you have guys like Sabonis who've been in and out for the majority of the year, and most of that has been on the sidelines watching because he's been dealing with a lot of different injuries. Siakam's aggressive on the glass, and we know he's going to play a ton of minutes. Carlisle's weird with his rotations. He gets Siakam a lot of breaks, but puts him right back out on the court. And like that fourth quarter substitution for Siakam always bothers me because it feels like when it's the heart of the game with like 7 minutes left, we see Siakam go to the bench for 3 minutes and not return until about 4. I still think we'll have no issue clearing this tonight. Like Jay Huff plays outside, and I mean, he'll grab a few boards, but I don't think he's taking too many away from Siakam. Isaiah Jackson has had massive games, but he's also going down in minutes over the past few. They've got him playing anywhere from 18 to 22 minutes. Siakam, we know we'll get a lot of minutes out of. This should be a pretty close game, which means we'll get a fourth quarter, probably 8 to 10 minutes from Siakam in that fourth quarter. I know the Pacers are struggling, but the Kings aren't much better. And both of these teams have really improved on the defensive end, but that's also playing into part which you're grabbing more boards, more missed shots. So
Mhm.
I do think that's good for Siakam here. Give me Pascal Siakam over 7.5 boards at -110.
Spicy Pete. Third down, let's get to the NFL. I've got 2 plays on Jalen Hurts. Give me Hurts over 7.5 rushing attempts, -105. And Spotifyers and Apple Bombs. Yeah, meaty. We also like Hurts anytime touchdown plus a Hurts passing touchdown for +174. Look, if you look around the league, it's December, it's crunch time. People are keeping the main thing. Lamar Jackson's been on the injury report like crazy. Lamar Jackson's nowhere near 100%. Beltway Ben, did Lamar Jackson run more in that game yesterday than we've seen him run all year?
Yep.
How did the Buffalo Bills come back on the Bengals? Yes, it was a pick 6 and everything else, but who led the way in the ground game?
Nice 40-yard run, big time touchdown there from Joshy.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts in the month of December, Beltway Ben, his last 12 December games, he has 12 rushing touchdowns in those 12 December games, and he has a rushing touchdown in 9 of those 12. The design runs with Barkley are going nowhere. The offensive line is beat up. The off-script scramble runs, survival mode runs are where it's at with Hurts. Everybody's pissed off at Hurts because he doesn't want to throw any picks, so everything's super conservative, and now he's not even hitting the layups. I think he just keeps it on the ground here. The tush push is still always in play for them, and while I'm not getting on a side here, I think there's potential for them to be bleeding out the clock late and having him kneel down. I played it at 6.5 -125 over the weekend. It's not there anymore. I'm sorry. It's 7.5 everywhere. I still really like it. I think he's going to have, 5 to 6 short yardage / tush pushers. I think he's going to have 2 to 4 scrambles, and there's also kneel down potential. Wouldn't shock me if he's over 10 rushing attempts in this game. The passing touchdowns, he's thrown for a passing touchdown in 9 of 10. I mean, the red zone offense has been bad. Goddard's been good in it. He does still have 2 number 1 type wide receivers. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the main thing staying the main thing. Him utilizing his legs a lot. Both teams in an under, what I think is going to be an under game, playing not to lose, leaning into sure things. And yeah, Jesse Minter's got a really good defense with the Chargers. I don't know that the Eagles are getting more than 3 offensive touchdowns tops. It might be more like 2, but I think Hurts can throw for 1 and run for 1. So there we go, a -105er and a +174.
Yeah, for me, we will go back to the NBA, and this is just a spot for me where I don't know. It looks like it's too good to pass on again. Sometimes in the NBA, you find that, and your guy comes out and scores 11 points, and it's just head scratcher. But tonight we have the Pelicans facing off with the Spurs, and as bad as the Pelicans have been defensively, the Spurs are right there with them. Now tonight, Herbert Jones is probably going to play. All that means for me is Trey Murphy's assignment gets a little bit easier because Herbert Jones is a good defender and he's not adding enough scoring. It's somewhere from, 8 to 12 points, something like that. I'm not worried if he plays that this will really impact Trey Murphy's scoring ability. Murphy's aggressive looking for a shot, and he's over this in majority of games this season. That's why I'm saying I can't believe it's this low. Now, you have to take into account blowout potential because the Spurs are a far better team than the Pelicans this year. But this game is in New Orleans, and New Orleans is playing for something. We know they traded that unprotected first-round pick. They want to win games. They have no reason to tank that pick because it doesn't benefit them at all. So I do expect them to continue to play hard, try to get their guys as many minutes as they can. And this is a guy in Trey Murphy who, when he's been healthy and when he's been on the court, great on the defensive end and very, very good for them offensively. He's taking away from a lot of other guys, which we've seen, especially some of the rookies, younger dudes who can't score as much. I think Murphy's going to be aggressive tonight. There's always the potential of him being traded, and you want to showcase what you can do. San Antonio, as good as they are, they're allowing more points than all but 4 teams in the NBA over their last 6. So this isn't a bad spot for Trey Murphy, defensively wise either. But with that lineup and the lack of scoring that they've had, I think it'll be an aggressive night from Trey Murphy. I'd expect him to clear the 21.5 at -110.
Excellent. Light NBA card this week and a light college hoops card as well. Go to fourth down. You want me to start with fourth and long? Oh, we got fourth and short up there, so I'll just start with that. Give me the first half under tonight in this game. And I know it's been a week of overs, right? We had 11 overs yesterday. I love the under here. I love the under in the Sunday night game. We're going to take it up to 21.5 points, though, here, and minus 125. It's at 20.5 pretty much everywhere. I played this at DraftKings. These are two offenses that are stuck in the mud. Bad offensive lines due to injury, beat up quarterbacks. Herbert's been hit more than anybody in the league. They're trying to get in the playoffs. They're trying to keep him upright. And they've got their stable of running backs back. And it's Harbaugh and Roman who want to win ugly run-first games anyway. Oh, yeah, and the Eagles are down their best run stuffer. So why don't we lean into that instead of have our quarterback get killed, dropping back 40 times? Eagles, pass game's broke right now. Run game's broke. I think Hurts is going to have to put it on his shoulders. So you're looking at an Eagles team since week 7 averaging 12 points in the first half and allowing just 6. You're looking at a Chargers team that since week 7 is scoring just 11 points in the first half, allowing 10. You've got a Chargers defense that's held opponents to 14 or less in 3 straight home games. I mean, maybe there's a pick 6. I mean, there's stuff that can happen. But I don't think either of these teams are playing with pace. I think they're both willing to bleed the clock. They're both in survival mode, and they're both down some triage. They got triage at the point of attack on offense and defense. So I don't think it's an aerial show, and I think they come out feeling each other out and letting the clock bleed. 4th and long, Chargers playing tonight. We're already on the Chargers next week at the Chiefs. We love this under at 44. Not sure how much longer it's going to be around. It's getting down to 43.5 in a lot of places. And if tonight's game goes like we think it will, you're soon going to find it at probably 42.5. Look, we've been telling you, Chiefs unders at home are the way to go. They are 17-6 to the under at home, Beltway Ben, since 2023. We're going to repeat that. Since the start of the 2023 season, games played at Arrowhead, 17-6 to the under. Those games average 41 points per game. They go under on average by 4 points per game. Chargers on the road since the start of last season, 9-5 to the under. Those games average 39 points per game. They go under by 3.4 points per game. The last 10 games that the Chiefs have played at home, 7 have gone under 44. The Chiefs, Beltway Ben, have played 7 straight home unders within the division. Those games have gone under by 9.5 points per game on average. Those games have averaged, that's a 7-game sample size. Those games have averaged 34.6 points per game. They played in Brazil week 1. It got a little crazy. But we can see the Chiefs, right? The offensive line sucks. The defensive line is try-hard guys and a broken Chris Jones who's out of gas. Like, Spags is going to let you run between the 20s. He's got to play shells because he can't get a pass rush, bleed the clock. We covered how we think the Chargers are just going to run the ball and try to win ugly, close games. Both teams love their kickers, even though Butker sucks. I hate his guts. He's a pig. Keep missing field goals, you pig. Yeah, why don't you make yourself useful at these games? Cook your coach a cheeseburger or something, bitch. So, yeah, we like the under. Keep missing field goals, bitch.
Yeah, it is awesome watching him fail. One of my favorite things. 4th and long, we got 4th and long and 4th and short as well. So we'll start with 4th and long because we already got it up there. I didn't know that I'd do this. I'm kind of like Jason where I don't like a lot of overs tonight. There's not a lot of props that I love as terms of exact player props. But here we're going to go with Quentin Johnston. Longest reception over 16.5 yards at minus 110. I don't know that Herbert's going to be throwing the football much at all, but when he does, it wouldn't surprise me to see them try to beat Philly over the top in a dome where Philly has struggled defensively over the last few years in these types of spots. Now, the pass rush with no Carter is going to be brutal for them. We've seen that before. The interior pass rush just completely goes away, and Johnston can beat teams over the top. Now, this year, he's starting to have those drop issues again, and he hasn't been great, but he's still on the field, and they also get him moving a lot. Moving around and running across the seams and things like that. Like, there is ways that he can beat this Philly secondary, and Philly secondary, as good as they've been, it's been long receptions, things like that to kind of break them. And if it's going to be anybody, I know McConkey's been able to do it. Keenan Allen, he's older, but he can do a lot of different things. Quentin Johnston is more of the field stretcher. I'd expect them to take at least 2 shots to him tonight, and I'm betting on him to come down with at least one of them. Or, I mean, even across the field, if he can outrun a DB for 17 yards. It's not too much to ask for a guy with his skill set. I know he's under it in 3 games straight, and he also had a game with no catches, dealing with some injuries, things like that, but I do expect Johnson to have a strong showing tonight. Now, we are also going to play 4th and long. I call it, or 4th and short, sorry. I just called it 4th and short because the game's tonight. The Philadelphia Eagles over 28.5 rushing attempts. Under this in 2 straight, they were over in the 3 previous games. Listen, this is their identity. This is what they do. Jason talked about it. Jalen Hurts doesn't want to turn the football over. He's not taking shots that he might have before. It could be an ugly defensive game tonight, and if that's the case, Philly's going to stick to their guns, and they're just going to hand the football off, let Hurts pick up some rushing yards, and in those 4th and shorts and 3rd and shorts, we've seen it before. 3rd and short, 3rd and 1, we're going to go tush push. We get a half a yard. We don't get it. All right, well, we're going to do it again, and we'll get it that time. They eat the clock with their rushing ability. Saquon's had a down year. Like, it's a fact. He has not looked good. The offensive line's played a factor in that. But with that said, he still has the carries. They're handing the football off to him a ton. There's just not many explosives from him. So I would expect a lot of carries from Saquon. I'm on Jason's Jalen Hurts rushing bet as well, because I think we'll see from him. And then the tush push and all of those things always play into account here. I would expect them to try that a few times here tonight.
Excellent. All right, overtime champions. Beltway Ben, it's back, but then it's gone for a month. These are the champions. These are the champions. We want to get on this match early in the Champions League because it's a 12:45 kickoff tomorrow, and that's going to be pretty close to when we do the show. And the odds are moving. So the mighty Bayern Munich, the Bavarian Giants, off a 5-0 thrashing of 10-men Stuttgart in that Bundesliga over the weekend. They host Sporting Lisbon from Portugal tomorrow in the Champions League. We like this match a couple of different ways. We like hat-trick Harry Kane to find the back of the net and be one of 3 goals that Bayern score in this match. Bayern over 2.5 team goals. Harry Kane, anytime goal, plus 130. We also like the Bavarian Giants laying 1 goal on the Asian line at plus 132. Still no Luis Diaz for Bayern. They lowered his suspension, Beltway Ben, from that nasty tackle from behind in the PSG game. They lowered it from 3 games to 2, but he does still have to sit out this Champions League match. He'll be back in January. I bring that up because he scores a lot of goals around the 6, inside the 18, finishing crosses, just kind of goal poacher goals, the kind that Harry Kane gets a lot of as well. Bayern at home have just been unbelievable. I mean, they're 7 goals scored and 1 conceded at home in the Champions League. Overall in the Champions League, home or road, 4 wins. Yes, they have the 1 loss to Arsenal. 15 goals scored to 6 conceded. So they're averaging 3 a game, whether it's home or road. I mentioned the thrashing of Stuttgart over the weekend. Beltway Ben, our guy Harry Kane didn't enter that match until the 60th minute because Company's got a smaller side than some of these other teams, right? So he's got to conserve guys. He still bagged a hat trick, okay, against a European quality side. I mean, is Stuttgart as good this year as last year when they qualified? No, but still. 5-0 is 5-0. A hat trick in 30 minutes is a hat trick. So you've got a lot of – he played basically a B team against Stuttgart, 1 by 5 anyway. Every for this one, going to have to hold guys back. And look, Lisbon's done very well in this tournament. But, like, they haven't played the level of tuned-up Bayern, fully healthy at the Allianz Arena. Also, Beltway Ben, these teams have met 4 times in history. Bayern has won 3 of those matches. Collective goals for and against, all time, Bayern against Sporting Lisbon. 13 goals scored, 1 conceded. We think they win this match. I mean, if this was a 4-1 type match, I don't love both teams to score. But I think this is a really good spot for Bayern to do a little damage and cement themselves as teams to beat in Europe, even though, yes, they did lose to Arsenal.
Yeah, I've got 2 different parlays that we're going to run for tonight's football game. One with just a regular prop that I like, and one with my a bunch of different legs, parlaying them together to try to get us right around plus 100. So we'll start with that one. Devontae Smith, and we had to cut the names to make it readable so you guys don't have to screenshot and zoom into your phone. Devontae Smith, 25 plus receiving. Kamani Vidal, 20 plus rushing. Quentin Johnston, 20 plus receiving. And Jalen Hurts, 15 plus rushing, plus 139. Devontae Smith, listen, I'm not sure what that passing offense will be able to do against the Chargers, but I do like taking Smitty down to 25 because he can do this with just one catch. And A.J. Brown is a dog. He's a wide receiver 1, but I think Smitty does a little bit of – they're two different style wide receivers, right? And that's been a big thing when talking about them, where Smitty can beat some teams that A.J. Brown can't and vice versa. I think this is a spot where we might see Hurts hit Smitty across the middle of the field, let him go down the field and try to make a play. And another thing really big about Smitty, his relationship with Jalen Hurts, like we don't see him throwing a tantrum on the sideline. We see him, he's very good at controlling his emotions, staying calm no matter what point of the game is. And there was some rumors that he's been frustrated despite being quiet about it. I'm sure he has. He hasn't done exactly what he's wanted to. And we all know how true of a wide receiver he is. Like, he's a very good receiver. It's just a weird situation, especially when you also have A.J. Brown, who every single game wants the ball more. I think Smitty gets us 25. Vidal, I talked about the running back situation here. I don't know that Hampton comes back and gets 15 to 20 carries.
Right.
I think it'll be weighing both of them, letting both of them kind of get off a little bit. And Vidal can do this, again, with just one carry. We've seen it a bunch. He's looked extremely explosive, and they've stuck by that. Quentin Johnston, I'm on him in a lot of different ways. We'll see that with the next play as well. I think he comes out of this slump a little bit tonight. When you look at the first few weeks of the season, he was clearing this regularly. Now he's been banged up, has had issues with drops, all of those bad things. Johnston does this with one catch in a number of games. I think he'll have a few. 20 plus should be no issue. And Jalen Hurts, 15 plus. I told you guys before, I'm on Jason's rushing attempts with Hurts. As Jason mentioned, as the year goes on, in these spots, he runs the football more. And a little bit even crazier about the situation, this is indoors. Those hits don't hurt as bad. And I'm not saying they don't hurt, but you're not taking as many shots and being banged up in the freezing cold of Philly. It feels a little bit better in a dome. So it might
I'll take your word for
Hurts. That. Yeah. It's a lot easier saying
I want no parts. I want no parts of it anywhere.
Absolutely.
Jupiter, Saturn, the moon, indoor, outdoor, basement, kitchen, backyard. I'm out of that.
No, I'm with you, but a cold night in Philly.
Football in a long time.
A cold night in December in Philly.
But you're a young guy. I trust
indoor.
your judgment.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think cold night in Philly would probably hurt just a little
You're
bit.
You're at the Y throwing elbows, so you know what
I'm
it's
fire.
Like
I'm fiery.
streets.
Yeah, went out there. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. But I think Hurts gets 15 plus, and those get us to plus 139. Now the other play, we're keeping Jalen Hurts in here with the 15 plus because again, he's done this in like 7 straight. He's been going over this regularly as the season's gone on, and he's only under it in 2 games this year, I think, as a whole. But we'll throw this in with Quentin Johnston over his regular number of 33.5. So again, Quentin Johnston over 33.5 receiving yards, and Jalen Hurts over 14.5 or 15 plus rushing yards, however you want to view that, to plus 117. Now, Johnston is his original number, but it's minus 115 or minus 114. I'd rather just get plus money with this and chuck Jalen Hurts in because I'm confident that we see him using his legs a bunch tonight. That running offense with Saquon Barkley hasn't been great. They're giving him his carries still, but Jalen Hurts will pull a few, and at some point the big run could be there. We've seen that with him a lot in these games later in the year as well. Now, Quentin Johnston, I've talked about it throughout the show. Herbert's going to get him the football tonight, I have a good feeling of. With this defense, as I said, they're not bad against wide receivers, but in the spots where they've been beaten, it's quicker guys like this, dudes who can stretch the field and ultimately take a toll on defensive backs. And you also have to worry about Ladd McConkey, what he's done. Keenan Allen has been Mr. Reliable this year, as he has through the majority of his career. Sometimes teams let Quentin Johnston beat them because there's so much focus on the other two beating them. I think that could be the case here tonight. So Quentin Johnston over 33.5 receiving yards and Hurts 15 plus rushing at plus 117.
There you have it. Doing my goal scoring celebration Beltway, Ben. Racism sucks. Racists suck. Supporting racist means you suck. That's our show. Ben, let everybody know how crappy I've been lately and how great you've been. There you
had
have
a big Sunday. You had a pretty big Sunday.
I did have a good Sunday. I had a good Sunday. Unfortunately, I dug myself a little bit of a hole there. Last couple of weeks, the games I've really liked and had the most inventory on have come through. We got to just keep refining our process and trying trying to streamline how we're doing this and how much is spread around on what. And look, at the end of the day, the ball bounces in mysterious ways. So, like, it's gambling. But we love doing this. We thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we will be back tomorrow, probably at our normal midweek time of noon. We've got champions. I'm probably going to be on Thursday Night Football pretty early this week because I think some of those numbers are going to move fairly drastically in the coming days. And yeah, it's a light NBA card, a light college football card. Have you started looking at bowl games and
last night,
playoff stuff?
Late last night,
Yeah.
and I was considering giving one out for 4th and long, and then I sat there and was like, I'm going to be so furious when I find out blah, blah, blah is not playing. So I'm going to try to give it like a week and see, because we'll find out more and more who opted out and who doesn't over this week. So I'll try to figure out kind of who I know is playing and who I know is going, like first-year coaches. Like if Maryland were to make a bowl, I'd lean their side because Malik Washington is trying to put on and he's younger. Like there's a different approach to some of these bowls, just with some more veteran guys don't really care as much in a meaningless bowl, and they're going to sit out. Whereas a freshman in his first year, if he's a quarterback or a top kind of playmaker, he wants to kind of put on. So it's a lot to weigh, and make sure you tune into us. We will break everything that we know down, give you kind of who's playing, who's not, and all those good things.
Fishbone, and listen to some Fishbone while you're at it. That's our show. We will see you guys tomorrow at noon.